Hi, I'm Chris. After suffering from MECFS for 6 years, I fully recovered. I created this healing program to guide and support you on your healing journey from MECFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID, and related syndromes. If you haven't watched the previous videos in this series, I recommend starting from the beginning, as each video builds on the last. You can find them for free on my website at healing-space.online. In the previous video, we explored the limits of modern medicine, the vital role of the mind-body connection, why a single trigger doesn't fully explain these illnesses, and how chronic stress plays a key role in MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID. In this video, we'll provide a rough overview of what truly causes conditions like MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID, focusing on the underlying mechanisms behind these illnesses. We'll explore these topics in much greater detail in the upcoming videos, breaking them down step by step to help you gain a deeper understanding of what's happening in your body and how to move towards healing. Before we dive into the cause, I recommend listening with an open attitude. Some of the things I'll mention might not make sense right now, but as we progress through the program, things will become clearer. Many of us come into this with strong beliefs or opinions about what caused our illness. Some of those beliefs may be true, but others might not be. What I'm asking you to do for this video is to temporarily set those beliefs aside and simply listen. By doing this, you make room for new perspectives that could help you along your healing journey. It's also important that we take a step back and look at the big picture of what's happening in our body and mind. When dealing with complex and challenging illnesses like MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID, focusing too much on specific details can make us lose sight of the bigger picture. What we need is a more holistic view that considers how everything in our health is connected. So what is the cause of MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID? The cause of these illnesses is complex, involves several factors, and is a process that develops over time. While a specific trigger, such as an infection, injury, or trauma, may initiate illness, it's important to understand that the trigger alone is not the sole cause. These conditions are much more complex than that. We need to acknowledge that for highly complex illnesses like MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID, there isn't a simple explanation, but rather a somewhat more complex one that involves multiple factors working together over time. Things are multi-layered and involve various systems of the body. But in very simple terms, the root cause of these illnesses is an overload of stress, whether physical, emotional, or mental. In other words, the root cause of our illness is too much stress for too long. This chronic stress overwhelms our autonomic nervous system, which becomes dysregulated. The autonomic nervous system, or ANS, is the control unit of our body that virtually influences every organ and system. Once it is dysregulated, all the organs and systems it controls cannot work properly, leading to the many symptoms we experience. The reason we keep being stuck in illness is stress again. The constant worrying, overthinking, analyzing, and fighting against our symptoms traps us in a vicious stress cycle, making it hard for our system to recover. While different stressors such as viral infections, accidents, injuries, or traumas typically trigger the illness, the problem is the accumulated load of stress and not just the trigger. As long as we stay in this fight or flight mode, resisting our symptoms, the body cannot fully relax and heal. All we have to do in order to heal is to shift from the sympathetic stress state into the parasympathetic rest and digest state. Once we manage to do that, our dysregulated autonomic nervous system will start working properly again, and the symptoms and illness will vanish by itself. Mindfulness is a scientifically proven tool to help us make this shift. This is the simplest explanation I can give, but I know it's still a lot to take in. These conditions are complex and you'll need more information to understand the full picture. That's why we'll explore the cause of these illnesses as well as the path towards healing in much more detail in the upcoming video lessons. Understanding how we ended up with these illnesses is important because it helps us focus on the right areas to begin healing. To give you a rough overview, we'll explore a model that shows how too much stress can eventually overwhelm our system, leading to various physical, cognitive, and emotional symptoms. You don't need to grasp all the details right now. Just keep in mind that too much stress is the root cause of these conditions and that most likely that stress is unaware to you. Let's now take a look at the model that illustrates how a stress overload plays a central role in the development of MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID. First of all, we can think of stress as an umbrella term for all the various pressures we experience in life: physical, emotional, and mental. It's important to understand that stress does not just happen. Rather, stress is the result of the interplay of several factors, including genetics, which influence how we respond to stress, our conditioning. These are our past experiences and learned behaviors that shape how we react to stressors. Stressors. These are the challenges and demands we face in everyday life, such as tough jobs, strained relationships, financial and time pressures, but also our inner experiences like difficult thoughts, strong emotions, or physical pain and symptoms can act as stressors. The trigger for our illness, whether a virus, a life event, an injury, or emotional strain, was also a stressor. Our automatic reactions to stressors. They play a crucial role because how we react to a stressor greatly influences how much stress we actually feel. As we'll explore later, learning to adjust our reactions is the most effective way to reduce stress and the essence of healing. We all have an individual stress threshold, which is the amount of stress our system can handle before it becomes overwhelmed. Over time, stress from various sources can accumulate and add up. In our case, over time, our accumulated stress load becomes bigger than our stress threshold. This then results in too much stress. When we suffer from too much stress for too long, at some point, our system becomes overwhelmed. What happens is that our autonomic nervous system falls out of balance and becomes dysregulated. We can think of the autonomic nervous system as the body's central control unit, influencing virtually every organ and system in our body. It regulates the immune system, hormonal system, musculoskeletal system, digestive system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, reproductive system, urinary system, and even skin functions. When the ANS becomes dysregulated, as it does in conditions like MECFS, fibromyalgia, and long COVID, it's no surprise that it causes a wide range of symptoms from different organs and body systems. Common symptoms include fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, sleep disturbances, pain, immune dysregulation, post-exertional malaise, orthostatic intolerance, restless legs syndrome, breathing problems, cardiovascular symptoms, digestive problems, hormonal imbalances, mood disorders, anxiety and depression, reduced libido, urinary issues, skin issues, emotional sensitivity, and many more. What's important to understand from this model is that the symptoms we constantly face are not the root cause of our illness, but rather the result of too much stress and a dysregulated autonomic nervous system. While these symptoms are frustrating, draining, and harmful, focusing solely on treating all symptoms isn't an effective strategy for recovery or healing. Instead, we need to address the root cause of our illness, which is an overwhelming stress load. This means learning how to reduce stress in meaningful ways. Even though our stress load results from a complex interplay of factors, such as our genetics, conditioning, the stressors we face, and how we react to them, the most effective way to reduce stress is by replacing these harmful automatic reactions with mindful responses. Why this approach works so well will be explored in upcoming videos. This is also why approaches focused solely on eliminating all stressors often don't work. It's impossible to eliminate all stress because stress is a natural part of life. While we can reduce certain stressors, simply trying to avoid stress or recover through stress elimination alone is rarely a sustainable solution. Similarly, while genetics and conditioning influence how much stress we experience, these factors are fixed and beyond our control. The most effective way to reduce stress and support healing is by learning to shift from automatic, stress-inducing reactions to mindful responses. Mindfulness is a scientifically proven tool to help us make this shift, which is why this healing program focuses so strongly on learning and applying mindfulness techniques. Once we reduce our stress load and bring it below our individual threshold, our dysregulated autonomic nervous system falls back into balance and starts to work properly again. As this happens, our organs and body systems also start to work normally again, thereby alleviating our numerous symptoms and illness. In essence, just as too much stress is what led us into these illnesses and keeps us stuck in them, reducing that stress is what will help guide us towards recovery and healing. Before we dive deeper, I want to acknowledge that hearing stress as a key factor in our illness can feel frustrating or even offensive. I remember feeling completely misunderstood and dismissed when someone suggested that stress was a major reason for my illness. I couldn't see how stress could be linked to my very real physical symptoms, such as low energy, body pain, restless sleep, cold hands and feet, digestive issues, tinnitus, brain fog, and more. It didn't seem possible that stress could lead to such serious symptoms. But as I later learned, stress can have a powerful impact on the body, contributing to a wide range of real physical symptoms. There are 3 points to understand about stress. First, when we talk about stress, we're not just referring to major obvious stressors like tough jobs, strained relationships, financial and time pressures. We are primarily talking about the subtle, often unnoticed stressors that come from being perfectionistic, achievement-oriented, controlling, impatient, worried, self-critical, or prone to overthinking. These smaller, everyday stressors can build up over time and have a significant impact. Second, due to these harmful ingrained patterns, many of us experience a lot of stress even before becoming ill. Stress often accumulates gradually, starting well before illness appears. The trigger that initiated our illness, like a virus, injury, or trauma, was often just the final straw tipping our system into illness. Third, much of our stress is subconscious, meaning we typically don't notice it. Just because we don't feel stressed doesn't mean we aren't experiencing it. Our body and mind can be under stress without us being fully aware. This is true for most people, whether or not they have a chronic illness. Often, we only recognize stress when it's already significant and affecting us. That's why I believe the key to healing lies in 3 essential steps. Understanding stress, gaining insights into what it is, how it affects us, and where it comes from. Recognizing stress, becoming aware of when and how it shows up in our body and mind. Reducing stress, learning practical tools and techniques to lower its impact and support healing. In my opinion, the most effective tool for this is mindfulness. That's why in this healing program, we focus on understanding stress deeply and then applying mindfulness to recognize and reduce it. In this lesson, we had a quick overview of how too much stress contributes to our condition and how mindfulness can be a key tool in reducing that stress and supporting our healing journey. Of course, the discussed model is a simplified version of how these mechanisms work. Since I believe that understanding the how and why behind these processes is essential for healing, we'll dive deeper in the remaining introductory videos. We'll cover topics such as the autonomic nervous system, including its 2 branches, the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, and their importance to our health. What stress is in all its varied forms, why chronic stress is harmful to the body, how stress develops from a mix of factors and how it contributes to conditions like MECFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID, and related syndromes. Why the initial trigger for illness was just the straw that broke the camel's back. The polyvagal theory, which explains why we can feel anxious and stressed one moment and completely fatigued and disconnected the next. How the illness itself becomes a significant source of stress, keeping us trapped in a vicious stress cycle. How to break this cycle by replacing harmful reactions with mindful responses. Key factors for healing and why mindfulness is the core tool for recovery. Why certain recovery approaches often don't work. And finally, a look at the full content of the healing program. These are the topics we'll explore in this free introductory video series to support your healing journey from MECFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID, and related syndromes. I hope it became clear that stress and the autonomic nervous system are central to understanding these conditions. But what exactly is the autonomic nervous system? This is what we'll explore in the next video. If you'd like to continue, you can watch the complete introductory video series for free on my website at healing-space.online. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and follow. Thank you, and see you in the next video.